All right, welcome to the Crystal Ball College Edition. We'll be doing Texas versus Washington. Texas is favored by 4 points, as we see right up here. And I'm going to be taking Texas on this one. Um, we'll wait and see how some of the information comes out. We'll see if there's injuries or a major change, anything like that. But right now, when I look at the numbers, when I look at the data, that's the whole point of doing this, is let's just take the raw numbers. And there's some assumptions here, in which case you can't be comparing a very high level team from a lower conference against a high level team in one of particularly the Power Four. So, in which case, as an example I used before is if you take Air Force, you would believe that they were one of the top teams in the country when clearly they're not. But in this case, you can assume that Texas and Washington are of similar uh, 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 capability, played similar schedules to where the numbers are going to be comparable. And so with that is the model is showing that Texas would win this matchup 70% of the time, which translates to about a 6 point spread. And again, that's just a straight correlation. 70% comes out to 5.8. So the model is saying that it's about 42 to 34, which realistically speaking, high scoring teams like this, that's a pretty close game. So when I see that 4 point spread, that matches pretty closely to what we have up here with that 5.8. That is not very far off at all, which I think is pretty realistic. So when you're looking at the 42 to 34, that is, I think that's within line. When you look at the lower number here in the box plot of 37 to 42, I would not be surprised if it comes out to be something like that. So let's go ahead and get the next thing I'll point out is the Bayesian analysis says, hey, when team two, so when Washington plays well, they've got about a 2 point spread. Okay. And so when you look at what Washington just did against Oregon, which by the numbers, Oregon was by far and away a better team. But when Michael Penix is able to come out and put his really imprint his capability on that game on the big games, which is what he does, then it completely changes the game. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the performance charts. So the first thing I would point out here is just point out the passing game. Okay, they have a superior passing game. In the previous slide, um, you'll notice that is the one area that Washington stands out is the pass, and they have quite frankly what I think is probably the best quarterback in the country, in my opinion. I'm sure many people are going to argue with me, but they wouldn't argue very hard. Whereas Texas is going to bring a lot more of that balanced approach. And the algorithm, by the way, is going to like that balanced approach. The algorithm did not like Washington against Oregon either, because it's going to look at with the way it matches up. If you're getting 100 yards of rushing, that's not really a bad game. But you compare that to a team that's able to control the ball and be able to really rush the ball hard, control the ball, so you got ball control and pass the ball when they need to. That's what the algorithm is, because again, it's doing with Monte Carlo sampling, Monte Carlo simulation, is it's taking the games, it's taking how they play and playing that out in its against each opponent and how those opponents match up. However, one thing I will point out is come over here to the right. You just got a lot of big plays over here. Both teams have big plays, but Washington has a little bit of example or advantage, and that makes a big difference. Okay, it really, really does. Even if it's just one big play, that tends to make a big difference, particularly in the outcome of the game. So, but both of these teams are projected to get big plays. Big plays are defined in college as a run that's more than 15 yards and a pass more than 25. In the pros, I think it's 20 and 40 yards. So and this algorithm is really just saying those anything that's over 15 yards, I think, is what we're pulling out here. So, um, but nonetheless, those are really big plays. So both teams are protecting their quarterback pretty well. Um, You've got some interceptions, but nothing crazy. Both teams protecting the ball. This is going to be a clash of two different styles. One that is a big play passing team versus a team that is going to dominate the ball on the ground, run it down your throat, and pass it when you try and overcommit. And that's what we're showing here. So anyhow, if you like what you listen to, click like and subscribe, and good luck with your picks.